Okay, I am a little bit tired right now, so I apologize if I sound like that. Um, I guess with the release of Master Duel, I've noticed a lot of people picking the game up for the first time or getting back into it after not having played it for a long time. I've seen people who haven't played it in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 even, and even friends and acquaintances who may have followed what was being released to some degree, but weren't playing all that heavily. Uh, so I figured it would be relatively useful if I talked about some relatively budget deck options. That being said, there are videos out there, some of which I'll link in the description, that do give budget builds for relatively meta decks, but these decks are meant to be like only using low tier materials for the most part to give you something functional that you can go and duel with and grind up your rank while you get your bearings for the game, how it functions, and figure out what exactly it is that you want to play, right? But before we get into the deck, or the decks rather, plus the extra useful cards, let's look at the shop. So when you first start the game, you pick one of three structure decks, and then you have access to this shop. So this shop will only have these three packs at first. Structure deck wise, it'll have these two that you can purchase up to 3 times. It'll have a few accessories. These are like your personal emblems. These are card sleeves, right? And then you have the special dual pass gold that you can purchase, as well as these bundles. I think these bundles are worthwhile because you're getting 10 packs, um, 25% off basically, while also getting a specific powerful card of sorts, right? Then I don't know why I pressed back. When you pull cards that are from a specific like archetype or theme, you end up getting secret packs. You can also get these secret packs by crafting cards, which we will go over a little bit later. But you have cards that are normal, rares, super rares, and ultra rares. You can decraft literally anything, and on top of that, cards can come in like a two higher rarities. I forget what the middle rarity is called. I think it's just foil, but then the highest rarity is like a shatter foil. And each of these rarities give you even more mats if you deconstruct them. But any duplicates you get can also be deconstructed for extra mats. You can use those extra mats to craft new cards. So you don't necessarily have to break down the cards you pull um, one by one or anything like that. You can just pull a decent amount, get some mats, and be on your way. In addition, the Battle Pass or Dual Pass, I suppose it's called, does give you some mats as you rank up. But yeah, so like for me, within the first few minutes of me playing this game, I pulled a Phantom Knights Rusty Bardiche, and that unlocked this pack for me. As you can see, he's an Ultra. And the way these packs work is if you look at cards included in this pack, nearly everything, if not everything, is included in the pack. But the featured cards are mainly what you'll see because for every single pack that you open, 4 out of those 8 cards are guaranteed to be featured cards. So you got some ultras, some super rares, some rares, and then some normal cards, right? And the cool thing is, if you craft any of these cards, you are liable to unlock these packs. Also, when these packs are unlocked, you get access to them for 24 hours. So the reason I still have 17 hours on this one is because I pulled it quite a bit. Um, I pulled this. I think yeah. The last time I opened this pack, I actually ended up pulling a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, which unlocked this. And I had some other stuff that unlocked these too, which is why all of these are on 17 hours. Yeah. I had Dino cards in there too. So like you mainly will pull focus cards, but you're gonna be pulling other stuff, so you might come across some other things that you want. For anyone who cares about invoked, invoked is in this. So if you want to craft like a witchcrafter golem or Ruru or something, or like I don't even know what else is in here honestly, you can get it like that. So sometimes you'll get a pack when you craft a super rare, or maybe they're called secrets. I don't know. I'm assuming it's super. Yeah, so maybe you'll get a pack when you craft a super, but you definitely get it when you craft ultras. And then I believe like if you pull 10 packs and there's no ultra in the pack, the next pack will have a guaranteed ultra. So the game system is actually pretty nice and forgiving. It's cool because it kind of incentivizes people spending as well. Like you don't necessarily need to spend, but like as an example, let's look at my missions. I should have enough rewards to pull. I don't really need to, but I do want to build Witchcrafter anyway, so. Feels kind of bad. I'm like, because I'm thinking, I'm hoping I don't get an Ultra so I can show what happens. But we'll see, right? Okay, so we have 3 Ultras, it seems, if not more. I'm just gonna click skip. But yeah, so I got Naruru, I got Astral Karibo, which is from Number Recall. So Number Recall got refreshed because it was about to fade away from me. I'm not actually sure what this is from. We pulled, let's see, Impending Assassin. I am not totally sure why that showed up. We also got Endymion, Glacial Seal. We refreshed what we have because we did pull the Ultra, we pulled the Beret as well. I'm guessing we must have gotten the Endymion pack because I'm assuming the Magista stuff is there because some of it is in here, but not all of it is. But yeah, let's go look at the Endymion one because I'm really not sure why. Oh, it was because of her. Okay. Mm. But yeah, so we pulled, some Magista stuff, and it happened to be in this set, or we pulled her rather. She happened to be in this set, so it unlocked it for us. So now you can pull specifically for Endymion. So that's pretty nice. Oh, also, occasionally when you're crafting cards and stuff like that, you will get secret packs, like free secret packs. So you'll get the option to pull packs for free. Um, I don't think there's anything that I really want to craft right now. Like, I don't feel the need to rush into anything, so I'm not going to be able to show that off. But I'm pretty sure if you look around, people have examples. For solo, there is a tutorial. A dual, like you can skip the tutorial if you're familiar. You're forced to do the dual strategy, and then you have these story segments. As you clear these story segments, you unlock, or rather, you're rewarded with some of these orbs, and you can use them to progress. So, like this has a door on it, right? So we go in here, and we can unlock these 2 duels by using 200 of our dark attribute orbs. And then if we do those duels, we get, I think this is a companion that you can put on screen. And this is like an icon. So if we were to go back to the main menu, you could change the icon there in the top right here. I mean, top left. I don't know why I said type right. Yeah, aside from that, doing the solo mode also will unlock some individual cards. It'll give you a structure deck. So if we look at Monarch, for example, I don't know if it'll still show it again because I haven't checked that actually. Um, oh yeah, so we got Escalation, got some orbs, and then we got a Monarch structure deck. Oh man, I was about to yawn. We got a Monarch structure deck here. Doing some of the Element Saver stuff gave us Elemental Lord cards. And yeah, like to progress fully through every story section, you will need to do the other story sections because that's where you get these orbs to be able to do more of them. And then like all of these down here are locked, right? So once I go through Gem Knight, I don't know which story sections it's gonna unlock, but it's gonna unlock some of them. Um. Oh, and then I guess for the duel mode, right? You have ranked. So I actually was ranking on a different computer just to see how it goes. And I got to gold with a decently built deck, but it wasn't like I had a whole lot of hand traps and stuff. Um, I think because we're in a best of one format and we're not necessarily using side decks, that a lot more stuff is viable. Because like you can go for OTK strategies or like whatever really, and as long as you're able to kind of stall your opponent a bit, you can win. But the reason I really want to come here is because they have this event duel section here, and we don't know what this is going to be, right? But there could be some cool stuff here. Alternative formats, who knows? As for decks, we're going to look at three in particular, but first we're going to look at some low rarity staples and alternative cards. So when you start the game, one of the three starter decks you have access to gives you 3 MST. It's the Synchro one. I chose the Link deck, but if you clear missions, you can actually get the other structure decks that you didn't pick anyway. So this is just here mainly to be like your spell trap removal option that you don't have to necessarily spend resources on. This is a super rare, right? I was trying to avoid this one is I had a minor distraction. So Cosmic Cyclone is a super rare. But it's here because sometimes banishing a spell trap on the field is much better than destroying it because many cards do have grave effects or they can recur in some way. Um, like if you're up against Striker, you definitely just want to be able to get rid of the multi-roll entirely, right? So this is here mostly because it does come up. But in terms of other spell trap removal, you have access to Typhoon, Heavy Storm Duster, which again is a super rare, but I think is worth mentioning, and Fairy Wind. Technically, Witch's Strike counts. This card I just have here because it's low rarity, and if you happen to have it on board when your opponent hand traps you, it can be pretty impactful case to case. Aside from that, you mainly want cards that allow you to interact with your opponent. Forbidden Chalice is just a really good card. Like, if you're playing Striker, you'd want to run Effect Veiler and Forbidden Chalice. But for any decks where you can't run Veiler because it's an ultra, you don't necessarily want to craft hand traps before you have your regular just deck and engine built. Um, this is a very good option. Aside from that, again, cards that allow you to slow down your opponent's game plan, stall them, and stuff like that help a whole lot. So mirror forces in general are good. There's this one. There's the blazing, the storming, the drowning, the quaking mirror forces. All of them are super rare. Torrential's pretty good. Compulse is okay. This can come up. This allows you to live. Bounces a card. Trap holes can be decent. This one, because it works with the extra deck, and your opponent might be pulling a bunch of things out of the extra potentially. Um, Chaos Trap Hole comes up. There's a lot of light and dark decks that I honestly think are very meta right now, but you do encounter other things, so you might not want to run this. Like, the fact that we don't have sides, I think definitely will heavily impact deck building as time goes on. This negates. Oh, Holy Noise also can destroy spell and traps. This can come up as just a generic option. It's not like the biggest deal. But Fogblade and Fiendish Chain are both good options. The Paleos are here in general because some of their effects are pretty nice to have. Being able to banish something is pretty good. One of these, I think it's this one, the books. No, that one draws. This is the Book of Moon, right? Yep. Just in addition to having access to your standard Book of Moon. This is specifically if you are using a deck that revolves around one or more number monsters, because this card can reset itself on the field once, and then it'll get banished. But this is effectively like 3 copies of this is effectively 6 Omni Negates, right? That's pretty nice. This guy is just here because sometimes your opponent will have problematic cards that can revive themselves once conditions are met. And with this, you can just banish that card from their graveyard. Moving on, let's look at Paleo Frog first. So, this build is a bit different than normal. For one thing, you have at least 8 slots in your main to run whatever it is that you think you need. Running Backjack and Leancolia, I believe, because you can put the Backjack back into the grave with Leancolia to be able to reuse the Backjack, so you'd likely still want to fill these spaces in with more traps so you can get his effect off. It's pretty good. Rise to Full Height is useful because your opponent, it makes your opponent's monsters unable to attack aside from a single monster. So man, I phrased that poorly. Basically, you choose one of your monsters, and that monster can be attacked. And if it's destroyed or whatever, your opponent cannot attack for the rest of the turn. So this also is a nice stall option. Running Lost Wind. Lost Wind's good. Reduces attack and negates effects. It can reset itself. And because it's a trap, it can trigger the... it can trigger Paleozoics in the grave, so they can special summon themselves as level 2s. So you can go into your Paleozoic PCs and totally awesome. And then, of course, the Frog package is just 3 dupe, 3 swap, 2 Rodent Totem. Of course, make any adjustments as you see fit to both the main and the extra deck. This is really just supposed to serve as a baseline. Like, I was trying to sit here and figure out what exactly you would need to run in a low rarity version of this deck, but I really don't see too much else. This SR count might be a bit high for some. Like, I don't think it'll be too difficult to build this. But it's just that you might not necessarily want to invest those resources, and that's understandable. But Pacifist has an entirely different issue because you want like 5 or 6 ultra rares. So Pacifist is kind of like a control deck. This is like, I don't know, this is kind of like an infinite impermanence, I guess. This is your pseudo skill drain. It doesn't really do anything to you because all the monsters that you're going to be using are either Megalo Smasher X or 2K tokens summoned by the Phantasm City, right? You really want the Sea Stealth attack because it helps protect your spell and traps, and then your level 5 or higher water monsters can just destroy an opponent's monster if it battles an opponent's monster. So, you know, the token is level 8, so it does work there, not with Megalo Smasher. I do run a single copy of Phantasm Spiral Crash. Piercing damage just comes up sometimes. It can be pretty useful. if you're running this or any of the other equipped spells, which I really wouldn't suggest, you could also run Phantasm Spiral Dragon because each of the equipped spells does have an effect that when its conditions met, basically you can special summon a Phantasm Spiral Dragon and equip this card to it. In this case, it would allow you to get an extra swing and deal more damage. Also, Phantasm Spiral Dragon is like a 2900 beater, so there's that. So yeah, Ginormiscus, Oleanoids, Phantasm Spiral Battle, Power, Metaverse, Sea Stealth Attack, Underdog, Fury of Karyushin, Fossil Dig, Terraforming, and Megalo Smasher. Aside from that, you can run Giant Ballpark. Giant Ballpark is just a pretty solid rogue-ish option. You can relatively easily OTK your opponent just because of how this deck works. Subsisting off the Giant Ballpark, so you absolutely want to get into this. So you really will want the Terraforming and Metaverse. I just don't know if the story rewards these or anything yet, since I haven't gone through everything, but I will update the description when I find out. So you got your Insect Knight and your Shiny Black Sea Squatter, which work in conjunction with the Goki Pole, because you can, when it's sent to the graveyard, you can add one level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you add a normal monster, you can special summon it, and then you can destroy one monster on the field with a tag greater than or equal to that special summon monsters. Right? You can pitch it. You can pitch the Goki Pole with this. This is just a very pushed card. And overall, like, you don't really need that many high rarity cards. Like, even as far as the extra goes, I'm running the Battle Wasp stuff because I want to. But you can honestly, like, cut it down to something like this. Like, you might even be able to, like, drop down to a single Pico Felina. And then you only need 3 Ultras and 4 Secrets. So, whatever works for you. I also went with this build specifically because the B Troopers are not currently in the game. So, don't have access to them, but the Battle Wasps are very good for helping you extend into any link plays that you would like to make. So this deck is definitely something that could last you an extended period of time potentially as well. You might want to run more Kaijus, but the other insect Kaiju is a higher rarity, as is Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So, something to keep a lookout for, but this should serve you relatively well for the time being. And that's about it from me. So good luck, and like really, if you want to ladder it at least right now, it doesn't seem that difficult to do so. Even when you're playing against pretty good players, I just think I think the online ranked like best of 1 environment is just very different from the tournament best of 3 environment. So there are going to be decks that are going to work well here that might not necessarily be something that you'd want to see in tournament, right? Or you'd want to play in tournament, right? In addition, I didn't really go over the battle pass or the duel pass rather, but play games, get points, get rewards. That's all there is to it. Normal stops at level 50, gold stops at 100. Good luck to you all.